Now, you yourself have called sanctions as an act of war, and unilateral sanctions are a common tool for the West to pressure other nations. So the US is at war with many countries then, like Iran and Cuba, isn't it?
Well, if two countries get in war, one of the most important things that they do is they put on blockades. They prevent trade so that the various countries can't get their raw products. So in that sense, the economic sanctions is doing something that happens in wartime, and that is preventing a government from getting certain things that are needed, for the war. So this is the reason, of course, I'm, opposed to this, because I think it's wrong. And I keep thinking what I talk about here in this country, and when I was in office, is why don't we try to see it from the other perspective? How would we react if we couldn't import something? What if China or Russia or somebody came and said, you cannot, import certain things, or we're going to prohibit you from trading? The American people wouldn't like that very much, and yet we too casually do that with others. But in principle, it's not quite like a shooting war, but it is a war. I mean, it's something that's used in an active war, and the ultimate of it is a blockade. But sanctions is a form of a blockade. Sanctions, you can't do this and you can't do that, and I think it only leads to escalation. And the countries that have had sanctions, generally it's done to, the sanctions against Iran have been on there for a long time, and on Cuba. But the leaders never suffer. The people suffer, in both countries. So this is the reason that I think sanctions in principle are wrong.
But why don't